Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And we do full-length car reviews a couple of times a week. And halfway through, we stop for a segment called Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
It's become so popular. What we do is we put a post out on Instagram at Motormouth_Andrea. And I leave it up for a couple hours. The questions come in quickly. So get your questions in early and we pick them and here we go.
Time now for Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Awesome videos. Thanks, guys. Thank you. I need to buy a new vehicle now and have no trade-in. The ideal choice would be a 3-row SUV for my family. However, the wait for the new Highlander, Telluride, etc. is too long. Thinking about getting a RAV4 hybrid for a year and upgrading in a year's time to a bigger vehicle.
I don't think you're going to get a RAV4 hybrid quickly either.
No.
That's the problem.
You might get a RAV4 gas model faster.
Yeah.
You might have a couple months wait, but the hybrid, I don't think you're getting that either. I don't think it's a bad idea to go with an alternative for a shorter period of time. You could lease it if you're staying with the same dealership. They might work with you. You might even be able to order a Highlander hybrid, for example.
So the other thing you might be able to do is go to the lot and say, they might have a 3-year off lease one there. You could buy it and then trade it in when the ultimate one that you want comes in. Go Grand Highlander, by the way.
Ideally,
go Grand Highlander.
Yeah, Grand Highlander. Ideally, if you had another vehicle, we would say just keep it.
Yes.
Order what you want, but it sounds like you don't have one to trade in. So I think coming up with an alternative, work with your dealership and see what they say. Keep up the consistent posting. Great job, you two. Thank you so much. Currently, the Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe and Wrangler 4xe are seeing in the U.S. $10,000 to $14,000 off of MSRP from the manufacturer. Are these cars a good choice at this price, or should I shop elsewhere?
Well, I think that's where you need to kind of start. I think that if you go and watch our full-length reviews, we were shocked by how much they're charging for these things.
I know.
I think they're totally out of whack, and there's probably a reason why they have them on discount is because you, as the consumer, said the same thing. I like the idea. I'm just not willing to pay that much.
Plus, these vehicles don't offer a lot of range either. So I think if you do short trips in the city, you can have a pretty clean drive every day. You've got a level 2 charger at home. You can charge every time you come back in and out of the house so that you have that full range when you need it. But they are expensive. You know, a Wrangler 4xe doesn't qualify for the full federal rebate in Canada. I guess that doesn't matter to you. It sounds like you're in the US because it doesn't offer 50 kilometers of range, which is such a shame.
But you're always plugging it in.
Yeah,
like
you get half.
You come home, you plug it in. You come back again, you plug it in. I mean, that's one of the problems. I like just the regular one myself. You know what? The Stellantis as a company has the biggest incentives in the marketplace right now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice that we're actually seeing some discounts again, which is something we haven't seen.
I really like the Wrangler 4xe as well as the Grand Cherokee 4xe, but they do offer a firmer suspension. So you have to really like that kind of feel and go with a vehicle that handles that way. There are lots of other plug-in hybrid alternatives to choose from.
But you can get this.
You can get this and you get a discount. Hello to the both of you. Enjoy the content and reviews. Thank you. In a few cases, you can buy a 2 to 3-year-old luxury branded car for about the same price as a comparable mainstream brand, like the Volvo V60 versus the Outback. Would a CPO and likely extended warranty purchase of a used BMW, Audi, Mercedes-Benz be worth it over just buying a brand new mainstream brand or vehicle?
Well, I think traditionally you had a great case for that, right? So you would look at you know, a used premium car versus a brand new something else. And the CPO does extend the warranty, and CPO stands for Certified Pre-Owned, and they add a couple of extra years warranty, which is really good. The problem is the values of used cars have been so high. So yes, it's still cheaper than buying a mainline car like a Subaru, but the prices are still quite elevated. It is the way to buy, really, for most people, a German car is to get a CPO'd car.
Yeah, and we have purchased used German vehicles before. I think you just have to be open-minded to the fact that As these vehicles get older, you can have some issues. If you're aware of that, if you're comfortable with that,
Or keep it under warranty.
then go for it, right? It sounds like you would get the extended warranty anyway. We like the way that they perform.
Yeah.
So we're a big fan
You're
of
getting
German
a totally
vehicles.
different class of car,
Yeah.
right? You're getting way more engineering. You're getting
More luxury.
more stable at higher speeds, better brakes, better acceleration, usually premium gas, so factor that in.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider.
I'm looking to buy a hybrid or plug-in hybrid vehicle, but the lack of inventory and wait time is ridiculously long. For example, I was told the Prius wait time is 18 to 24 months and Prius Prime is 2 to 3 years. Can you suggest another vehicle, sedan or crossover subcompact that is fuel efficient and is easily accessible? I
Okay,
just
go
want
to
to know.
go to the Jeep store. Apparently, they have them
They
on
have them.
discount.
I want to, before we tackle this question, believe it or not, a follower just reached out to me on Instagram. He ordered a Prius. They said like 18 months. You're not even going to believe it. He got a call 8 weeks later and he has his Prius.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
But, I think that isn't the norm.
That's not typical.
And so I think you have to also maybe consider what we talked about earlier, is maybe not getting the car you want, but if you need a new car, the other reality you have to ask yourself is, do you really need a new car right now? Is the car you're driving going to continue to work for another year or 18 months? If that's the case, just drive it until the new one comes in.
Or why don't you consider a sedan? Sedans are quite fuel efficient. You're looking at the Prius. I know you said subcompact crossover. But if you think about a sedan, you could possibly get an Accord hybrid. I've heard
Camry
there
hybrid.
is some inventory, Camry hybrid. You will get that fuel economy on these vehicles, and even gas model sedans are getting some great fuel economy and they're quite spacious. You'll find that the back seat for car seats is excellent.
For sure. Yeah, it's often overlooked. This good old sedan is very comfortable.
For sure. Echoing this sentiment of the question that we just read, realizing the supply shortages are global, do you believe North American dealerships are doing enough to help customers looking to make the switch to EVs? Seems like they have some pretty compelling reasons to stay in the gas-powered business for as long as they can. Training, EV techs, adjustments to infrastructure, and operations.
Well, one thing is the ultimate arbiter of this is the consumer.
Yeah.
If the consumer is demanding more plug-ins and hybrids, then that's what the industry is going to provide. If they keep buying more and more gas products, that's what this is the thing, is people vote with their wallet.
Yeah, and I think it's quite obvious that people want hybrids and plug-in hybrids and some electric vehicles. So I don't think it's the dealerships that are holding consumers back. Unfortunately, there is an inventory problem and the demand is high right now, especially with the cost of fuel. So people are looking to make a change. My mom had a perfectly good gas model. Perfectly good. She really didn't need to get a plug-in hybrid, but she wanted one. Not only did she want to save on fuel, but she wanted to have a cleaner drive every day.
She wanted to save on fuel.
But it also cost her more money, but she just feels like it was the best purchase ever, and it makes her happy.
The thing about hybrids and plug-in hybrids is the motivating factor is the high cost of fuel. There are some people that want to do what they think is right for the environment by building a brand new car. Think about that for a second. Instead of just driving their maybe efficient car they already have. But people are making a decision, and it's mostly based on economics.
I want to agree with you and disagree with you. Yes, based on economics, everybody wants to save on fuel. But I also think that people want to reduce their carbon footprint and do more for the environment.
By building a new car. Okay, I made my point.
You're still building new cars anyway.
know,
So why not get a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid?
Of course, but if your car's running fine, just keep driving it.
People want to make a change and they want something new and they want the latest technology. You know, sometimes you just don't want to drive an old vehicle. I mean, he's one to talk. He's one to talk too. He likes the new and the latest as well.
The car we're sitting in here is 15 years old.
Yes,
just saying.
well, only because, okay, then why did we order a GTI?
because you're not going to be able to get one.
Yes, but
In a-
still, we are
in a
buying
manual
a
one
new
day.
vehicle.
One day they're going to axe it.
We're
And-
still buying a new vehicle with the latest technology. We wanted a manual transmission. Is it a
And-
need or is it a want?
Oh, it's a want.
want.
Oh,
Just
well, we
like
actually,
my mom wanted a
we
Tucson
really
plug-in
need
hybrid.
it, though, too.
It was a want. We don't.
But I'm not here waving the flag saying it's all about I'm trying to change the world. No, I'm buying what I want. I want a GTI, I buy a GTI.
But people want to contribute to reducing their carbon footprint and feel like they're doing more. Yes. Yes. They do.
We have this argument, I think every question's coffee cars.
Not only that, we go on a walk and we have this little argument about that because we do disagree on that. Having case reviewers from Vancouver is awesome. Thank you. After watching your Lyric review, how badly do you think GM will be hurt by their plan to get rid of CarPlay, Android Auto? Do you think others will follow them? Do you know, I really like, we're Android users. I really like wireless Android Auto. If I am buying a new vehicle, I want it. We were in a Tesla, in a Rivian, and they have their own system, but they have hardly any apps.
And
I
Volvo.
think,
Volvo's the same.
And I think that that's a problem. You know,
Well,
I don't like it. But Volvo has Google, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it works for Android.
It's great.
The thing is that they are all moving to the Google, for the most part, operating system.
Yeah.
It's not Android Auto, it's Android Automotive, which is something totally different. Excuse me. I think they made the announcement and haven't really fleshed out exactly what they're going to replace it with. But I would suggest that all the stuff you use on your screen now, whether it's Spotify or Waze or your maps or your phone and all that, they're going to be able to get that on the screen without having to go to Apple's version or Android's version. They're going to be able to mirror your phone. And if they can do that, then it's really not that big a deal.
That's what I think,
But
too.
if they can do it.
Yeah, only if they can do it. We have to wait and see what it's all about when it comes out. If they can do that, they will nail it. And I think that a lot of people will be okay with it.
And also, are you going to have to pay a subscription?
Yes.
Like if it's an app drawer that's in the vehicle and you want to put Waze and Spotify and they say, oh, sure, you can have those on the screen, but it's going to cost you $5 a month. It's like, that's going to piss people off.
It's going to piss people off, and they're going to turn to other brands that are offering wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I'm new to Canada, and I'm looking for a pre-owned 2020 to 2023 Audi Q3, BMW X1, or a Mercedes GLC. Which one would you suggest? I'm keen on the current X1, but it's very difficult to find. Yeah, that would be very difficult to
That's
find
brand
used
new.
for sure, because it's brand
just,
new.
Just arrived.
Interestingly enough, you've put the GLC in this, and it's actually in one category above. It's in the compact SUV. It's the GLA that competes with the Q3 as well as the X1.
You know what I was going to suggest, Andrea? Because the new X1s are going out, people have ordered them and they're coming in. They might have a current one. You might want to work with the dealer and say, do you have any coming in end of lease or getting traded in on the new one? Because the last X1 I thought was excellent. I think it's a great product. So you might not have the newest and the latest, but it's still a great car.
I disagree with that. The X1, that
Handled
previous model, was loud. I thought the cabin got really loud. And I also don't like the fact that it's missing features. So that's out for me. I love the new X1. I think it's fantastic.
You know, the Q3 has been out for about 4 years now.
Yeah.
3 or 4 years. So some of those might be coming back off lease.
I think you could probably get a Q3, and you might even be able to get a GLA. But out of those three, my favorite is still the brand new X1. But like you said, it's difficult to get.
Brand new. What's used?
That one's going to be tough. How about a Mini? How about a Mini? Like a Mini Countryman?
Wait a second. You just said you wouldn't get the current X1 because it was missing features. The Mini doesn't have power seats, doesn't have the power lift gate, didn't even have a heated steering wheel until this year.
It's a Mini, though. Anybody who has a Mini will agree with me that Minis are special. And you might compromise on a Mini. Just my thoughts.
Get the X1.
I'm thinking of going either Mercedes EQE SUV 500 and BMW iX50. Which one would you choose? Okay, you go first.
Oh, okay. The BMW is fugly from the front. I mean, it's got the buck teeth. It's just, I just can't get my head around the way it looks. And then the other thing is, when you sit in the seat, and I'm showing you video of me driving the car, if you didn't know you were driving in a BMW SUV and you just sat there with the center console, the way it comes out and the way the dash is flat, the seating position is like a minivan.
Yeah.
It's got a real minivan kind of vibe. I love minivans, but it's not, I mean, it drives like a BMW, but it's just the seating position is like a minivan.
Does it totally drive like a BMW?
Yes.
I feel like it's a little bit floaty for my liking.
But if you want floaty, then the Mercedes-Benz is really soft.
Yeah. And the brakes are really soft.
The brakes are soft, or they're not precise.
Yeah.
But I do think the interior is pretty nice in that car.
In the EQE
Yeah.
SUV, especially with the hyper screen for sure. What would I get?
But the other thing is the EQE isn't that great looking either. It
No.
looks like a suppository.
I think I'm leaning towards the BMW. I think that's
I
what I
wouldn't
would
choose
go
either
for.
of them, to be honest with you. I think they're both kind of ugly.
Out of all the vehicles you've
Actually,
tested.
you know what? Wait.
Yeah.
The e-tron, the Q8 e-tron,
Yes.
that is a way better looking SUV. And they just updated the range and the power.
Yeah.
So it just got some tweaks. I would go right to the Audi store.
I think it looks fantastic,
Yeah.
the Audi.
Yeah.
Really
it's got
nice looking.
It's got real door handles and all that kind of stuff.
I like it a lot. Out of all the vehicles you've tested and reviewed, which is the one that you and your husband would want? One each. You go first.
Of all the ones we've reviewed?
Yes. Everything that we've reviewed, what vehicle would you
You guys
want?
ask us the same question all the time. Which car would you want? It's easy, Andrea. It's a 911 GT3 Touring. That's the car I want. And I'll say it for Andrea's, is the Targa GTS.
You got it.
So-
I don't care. I even say to Zach, I'd compromise. I'd have that as my only vehicle. And if our boy said, can I get a lift? I can take one.
Yeah, and I can take the
one.
other one.
Or you could maybe cram in the back seat if you
Nah,
could try and
they
fit.
got to be little
but-
to fit back there.
Yeah.
Those days are over.
So those are them. I mean, that is my absolute dream vehicle. I really want to have one of those one day. I'm hoping that I get it. You know, life is moving on. I mean, am I running out of time? We know
well, you're only
Lexus.
28, Andrea. What the hell?
How'd you know?
I know I'm married to you.
We know Lexus hasn't released any price information about the TX. That's correct. Is it worth upgrading from the Grand Highlander to the TX? Well, based on the same platform.
I don't think so. I thought I haven't driven the TX,
No.
so I can't really say. But just based on what you're getting, the same platform, same powertrain, you know, it just slightly different interior and exterior. I was so taken by the Grand Highlander. I like that one.
Yeah, same here.
Starbucks says you get a double coffee. Who ordered a double coffee?
I didn't, but they're saying I get extra points today if I order a double coffee. That's not going to be hard.
It's already been there once.
I will get my double coffee so I can get my points. I think that the
it's questions coffee and cars.
That's right. So I think that the Grand Highlander is awesome, especially that Hybrid Max, and you get the little shifter in the Hybrid Max, which are in Lexus vehicles. Now, getting in the TX, we didn't spend a ton of time in it. We haven't driven it. So is it going to have a more refined feel than the Grand Highlander? Probably.
I'm sure the suspension calibration will be softer.
I did find that the interior in the TX, Zach disagrees with me, is a little bit more upscale.
Not much.
The materials feel better.
Barely.
I think it feels a little bit more comfortable. But I really think it comes down to whether you want the Lexus badge. Do you want a premium luxury vehicle, or are you, as a person, satisfied just to drive a non-luxury brand
Andrea,
like a Toyota?
You're driving a Grand Highlander. It's not a schmuckmobile. It's not a base model. It's a Grand Highlander.
You know what I would do? I would buy the Grand Highlander, and then I'd get myself a fun vehicle like a Mazda MX-5 with a manual transmission. So I have the fun of it all. No, but that's what I'm suggesting. I'm saying, get the Grand Highlander and then get yourself something fun on the side.
Get something fun, like go out way out there on the edge. Something fun like a bus pass.
Or if you want to stick with Toyota, bus pass. Come on. Or stick with Toyota.
That's really,
and get the GR Corolla.
That's living on the edge, Andrea. Who's going to sit next to you? Is it going to be on time?
Well, these are issues. Love your content, guys. Thank you so much. What chemistry? Aw, isn't that sweet? Question is, what is your personal opinion about the future of gas-powered cars? Do you see it as a niche luxury collectible and pleasure thing in the future, much as luxury watches, Zach? What brands do you see surviving on?
Okay, so Porsche has made a point of saying they're coming up with a biofuel alternative that they think they're going to be able to sell or distribute for people who have fancy sports cars like a GT3 Touring in the future. Most of the luxury brands have all announced that they're going to be going full electric by 2030 or 2035. So I think it's going to be the existing cars, fun cars, that are going to be tucked away in a corner of a garage.
I think things like the GR Corolla, Porsches, doesn't matter which one you get, Boxster, you get a Targa, or
Mustang,
even
Mustang GT manual. I'm like something like that.
Even GTIs.
Yeah.
Golf R's.
So Jay Leno, I watched the video, and he actually was doing the Lyric, the Cadillac Lyric, and he's with one of the Cadillac guys, and he says, I get it. You know, people are going to have their electric car for everyday use, but tucked in the corner to take on and wash and go for a drive on a Sunday is going to be probably some cool older gas model.
That's what I want. I want to have a few tucked away in the garage, like the MX-5 is one, and then the Targa. I'm going to have
we got to get the GTI first. Pump the brakes over there.
Hey, here's a question. Any updates on your GTI?
We wait.
No updates. We haven't heard from the dealership. He hasn't said, given us a timeline on it. But we're in no rush. We expect the wait time to be long. We know that. Anyway, what are you going to do? It's the world we live in now.
And looking at pictures of it like a nerd. I do that.
Actually, he watches other videos on it.
I've watched
Every
other
time
videos.
I come into the room, I'm like, oh my gosh,
I'm
he's
watching other
another video.
You know what I'm watching videos on is the infotainment screen.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've driven the car. We didn't spend a ton of time with it. So I'm really drilling into all of the shortcuts and things that make the experience more palatable.
We're slightly concerned about all of the piano black in the vehicle and how challenging it is.
Black metallic chrome, isn't that what they call it?
I
Something
don't know,
goofy
but
like
it's
that.
high gloss black.
Yeah,
it's
shiny
the
hard
way
plastic.
it is. So Zach and I are slightly concerned because we like our vehicles clean, so we've got to have a microfiber cloth in the vehicle at all times. Can you now put your money on an EV or PHEV, or still waiting for prices to come down? Tesla Y did reduce the price. Is it still overpriced according to you?
I think the prices come down a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a way better deal in the U.S. than it's still expensive in Canada.
Yes.
But they did bring in a rear-wheel drive, short-range one just to get to the tax credit number in Canada, which I think is very, very smart. But I don't think so. So one thing you got to know about inflation. We've been living through the last few years of inflation. When inflation starts to come down, it doesn't mean that prices are going back to where they were.
No.
It just means the rate of the prices going up has slowed.
And I also think that Tesla has done a good job with the reduction of price. Plus, they have the inventory and they have the supercharger network. Those are three things that people want.
But they're also ginning demand. They've actually seen a deterioration in demand.
They have.
And so they've just added, apparently, I read this last week, I read the headline anyway, that they've added some supercharging credits for part of the purchase experience. So that's one way they gin sales. They drop the price. So they're an aspirational brand. A lot of people that buy Teslas have never spent that kind of money on a car before. So that's really, I think, where it's hurting them, is that those aspirational buyers, they even with the lower price, with interest rates high, they can't afford the car.
No, and they are a dime a dozen in Vancouver. Everywhere you look, you see a Model 3, a Model Y. I don't think that the interiors are up to par with other luxury brands, but the technology is excellent. And like I said, when it comes to charging, Tesla knows how to do it right. This is our final question.
What? I'm having so much fun, Andrea.
Are you?
Yeah. Well, anyway,
great. So
gotta wrap it up.
I'm having fun. This is a piggyback question on the TX question that we just answered. I keep seeing there's a 2-year wait on at least the GX. Are people then getting a 2024 car in 2025? I don't understand. I bought a 2023 RX in March, and I'm still waiting on the second key from Lexus, and recently got an apology email about the wait. I shouldn't laugh. That's just ridiculous.
Okay, well, you're talking about the GX. That's the new body-on-frame SUV that we just went to Texas to look at.
Yeah.
That vehicle isn't even on sale until sort of the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how dealers are telling you it's going to be this or that or the next thing, because they haven't even received any yet.
Here's a perfect example.
What's that noise?
I don't know. Here's a perfect example. When we ordered our GTI, there was a cutoff period for us to get a 2023 model. We happened to just slip in and get it in time. If we had been delayed in ordering it, we would automatically move to a 2024 model. So that's kind of how it's working. There's a cutoff period. Now, some people have ordered in 2023, maybe even in January, but the wait times are so long that
They get punched into the next year.
Yes.
Hey, which is what you want. Like, you don't want to get the last month of a current model year. If you could just wait and then a few weeks and get the next model year, because that affects your resale value.
in the case of the GX and the TX, it's not going to matter, because whether you get a 2024 model or a 2025, there's probably not going to be any changes.
There won't
to
be any
it.
changes, but it's
No.
all about
Resale value.
It's the car current.
Yeah.
But the good news is, as you know, they introduced the model year kind of early.
Yeah.
So even if you waited, it's going to be current for quite a long time.
Now, it started to absolutely pour here right now, so
I think
it's
it was a
good
wind
that
gust
we're,
or something.
we're
Yeah,
wrapping it up. But get your questions in. We do this from Instagram. Follow along at Motormouth_Andrea. I put up a post every Sunday now when we're in town, so keep an eye on it. It's up for about 2 hours. We gather all of our questions, and then we get ready to film.
All right, who's right? Are people buying plug-ins and hybrids to save money, or are they buying it to save the world?
He's just trying to cause trouble, isn't he?
No, right below.
I never said it. I said it was a compromise. Of course
said
they're buying it to save money on fuel, but they're also doing it for other reasons as well. Come on, who's with me?
I'm just going to fade this out.